So this was a chick I was hoping I would never have to talk about again, but apparently I don't know if she's seen the light or she's just trying to cover her ass. But Daniella Pineda, who played Faye in Cowboy Bebop, the Netflix Cowboy Bebop, which no one talks about anymore because it was so bad, backtracks on her derision of Cowboy Bebop fans 3 years after the show's release. So basically, people were, about her costume, how it's like, it looks nothing like Faye. Like her, she looked nothing like Faye. And Faye was an amazing character in the anime and the manga. She's very beautiful and very feminine, and she uses that feminine side of her to get what she wants, but she also doesn't have a problem kicking ass. But she also has a very distinct outfit that people know, that people love. And the costume, the outfit that they gave her was nothing like what we wanted it to be. And she comes out and says basically about how it's harder to move around in and this and that. But then you see people on YouTube, cosplayers who are doing fan films, and they're actually like doing more than what she was doing in the show. They're like doing all these hardcore, or not hardcore, but like some acrobatic type things. And the costumes are holding up just fine. Now, these are fans. Like, they don't have millions of dollars, millions of dollars in a budget for that kind of stuff. They're just fans who do cosplay. And yet they can make their costumes look like Faye's and also hold up while doing high intensity sort of movements. So she comes out and attacks fans, and actress Daniella Pineda, who played Faye Valentine in Netflix's panned live-action adaptation of Cowboy Bebop, backtracked on her previous comments where she derided fans of the original anime. If you recall, back in August, we'll just...
Hey guys! So, as you know, our Cowboy Bebop first look dropped today, which was so exciting. And I just wanted to address a couple of things that sort of keep coming up in the comments amongst fans. First, I wanted to apologize to the fans that I did not anatomically match the Faye Valentine character. 6 foot, double D size breast, 2-inch waist. They looked everywhere for that woman and they couldn't find her. It's kind of weird. So they just went with my short ass. I know. Am I right? There was talk about, like, can we put Daniela in a time machine and maybe give her different parents so she has different genetic information to sort of make her look better? It proved to be too complicated. And the other thing I wanted to bring up was I want to apologize that the outfit I'm wearing is not exactly what she wears in the anime. We tried. But doing stunts in tissue paper, things disappear, they rip. Sometimes it just got... Anyway, like I was saying, that original costume, they made a couple of them, but like I said, they got sort of slurped up in my various crevices, never to be retrieved.
Again, which we know is bullcrap, because cosplayers, people who do fan films, they make them perfectly fine. And they are people who don't have millions of dollars. They are fans. And they're saying that Netflix and whoever else worked on the show, they couldn't find a way to stay true to Faye's outfit and make it, because she really didn't do a lot. She did a lot of pew pew and a lot of in the little freaking planes and all that. She really didn't do much. So she's not doing high acrobatics. She's not. So fairly sure they could have done something, but no, just come out and attack the fans. The video then transitioned into a Rick roll with Rick Astley's Never Gonna Give You Up playing over a comment Pineda made on the Hollywood Reporter's Instagram that states, "Oh man, they better not ruin this. I mean, where's Ed?" Oh my God. I'm glad that Ed was that Ed was terrible. They better not mess this up. Why isn't Faye half naked? Typing comments, Cowboy Bebop dropped, so bad. And Ein was like a robot. Just like in the anime. A few months after deriding the fans of the anime, Pineda stood by her comments telling Deadline, "It was definitely my first interaction with very, very low focal trolls." because everyone you disagree with is a troll. Social media gives access to pretty much anyone who wants to say anything. Although I feel like some people would be disheartened, I found a way to clap back. With that video that I gave, which was very cheeky and silly. Yeah, like this is what they decided to go with. Like she looks nothing like Faye. I mean, at least with Spike and Jet, they at least look like they're like this dude is doing more action. And this is probably not an easy suit to be doing those action scenes in. And he was doing it just fine. Rather than stay quiet, which is usually what everybody wants you to do, I just felt inclined to say something. I feel like I should be doing this sort of voice. I've been doing it for so long. No, like right now well, you can't really see it right now because I've got the midnight lizard, whatever it is. But I was doing Twilight Princess, and that's the voice I gave to Midna. I sort of gave her a bit of a Frieza voice. Oh, you poor monkey. So that's, as I'm reading this, for some reason I just want to read it like this. I felt that response was definitely in spirit of Faye. I also got Steve Bloom's blessing, the voice of Spike, who backed me up, and I was like, all right, guys. I don't care what you say. If that guy backs me up, no one can say anything. Now while speaking with the direct for upcoming, of course, they've got, like, yeah, you can look, Jet and Spike. You know, they look like what they're supposed to for the most part, despite the fact that Jet isn't actually black. His name is Jet Black, but he's not actually black. But they at least like his voice, like, but damn it, Spike. And John Cho as Spike. I mean, it's not as iconic as Steve Bloom's. And you know, when he just said, just a humble bounty hunter, ma'am, it doesn't hit quite the same. It just doesn't hit with John Cho did it. You know, Steve Bloom is just, it's like, oh. And Ein. Still Ein. But yeah, it's like, this is what they decided. So they still give her pants that pretty much ride up into her vagina. But they're like, oh, no, we can't fully give her Faye's clothes because, oh, action. She barely did anything. So... Pineda has completely changed her story. She said, I want to clarify something. So, years ago, when the franchise came out on Netflix, I was shooting a movie in Puerto Rico, and I was goofing off, and I made some, I'm not used to anyone watching my videos, and I made this dumb video, kind of poking fun at myself, because I was getting all these DMs from people like, you're terrible, and you're fat, go away. Just like awful, awful messages. Yeah, I know. Why would anyone call her fat? She's not fat. I mean, if it wasn't for her terrible personality, I'd say she's very attractive. It's just that personality. You know, sometimes that's a make... I mean, honestly, personality is a make or break. So if you have a terrible personality, that's... I mean, she's gorgeous, but her personality sucks. So I made this, like, on a whim Instagram story, just joking about the fact that, like, sorry guys, I'm sorry I was cast. I used the word fans when I meant to say trolls. And when it caught wind and everybody was like, she's hating on the fans. And I was like, this is getting lost in translation. I'm responding to trolls, not fans. Yeah, you're not. Because, again, just because you criticize something doesn't mean you're a troll. Like, these people, they hear these words online. They're like, oh, yeah, I'm just going to use them. Oh, the gooners and trolls and incels. And I hear all these words online. I'm just going to use them myself without actually knowing what they mean. And it got really swept up. I just had to put that out there. Not only did she do a complete turnaround about her comments to riding fans, but she also noted that the studio needs to do better when it comes to... Oh, God, that'll be the day. That'll be the day when Netflix actually has faithful adaptations. Now, One Piece is decent. I'm not gonna say it was the best, but compared to say Cowboy Bebop and Death Note and any other live action adaptation that they've had, it's pretty decent. I watched it, and there were moments like I was like, wow, that's really good. Um, a lot of the buggy stuff was really funny, was really cool. Um, Also having people work on the show, like the cast, like the actual cast. What's his face who plays Luffy is actually a fan. The chick I think who plays Nami, same thing. She's a fan of the anime and of the manga. So they brought those characters the way they knew them into and it was refreshing. Same thing with the last Avatar, the live action. It was like it was a good watch. I mean, compared to M. Night Shyamalan Ding Dong's version, where like Sokka is all serious and they say Soka instead of Aang, it's Ong. It was more faithful. I mean, things were definitely changed, obviously, but when it got to like the Kyushu Warriors, it's like they're still badass. So, that's a good thing. At least they didn't make them like change the characters and. Boomy, and I think Boomy actually was changed a little bit, but Netflix and faithful adaptation. Oh, oh, don't make me laugh, monkey. No, really, I don't want to laugh. Now what were we? She said, I feel like those animations, they mean so much to people, and they're so personal. And I think people really connect to what they when they watched it, and at the point to the point of their lives. And so I just feel like I'll say this: I've been in one. I think that those studios, they need to do better job of valuing that IP. It's really special. Now, whether or not she actually means it, I don't care. But I will say it is nice for her to say something like that. Whether or not she means it, again, we don't know if she means it, but at least reading those words, I think takes a lot of, especially nowadays, courage, because you're kind of you're actually going against the grain instead of realizing you might have made a mistake and just doubling down. She's like, you know what? No. It's, IPs, they have fans, and, these fans, these IPs are very special to them, whether it be from their childhood or, like for me, Cowboy Bebop. I mean, high school, Adult Swim, or, like Toonami on it, and like whenever it was at night. Cowboy Bebop, Yu Yu Hakusho, FLCL, Trigun, Tenchi Muyo. What else was on? Inuyasha. Yeah. But like it had this great lineup at night. So so for me, Cowboy Bebop is extremely special, which is why I was giving it a chance when it came out, because I love Cowboy Bebop. The same way I saw with the Yu Yu Hakusho live action. I gave it a chance because I adore, like, Yu Yu Hakusho is my favorite anime of all time. And I gave it a chance. I'm like, okay, it's okay. I made it through, and there were a lot of good moments. A lot of very beautiful visuals. I don't like the fact that, like, there was no dark tournament and they just fought Toguro, like Team Toguro, in like a warehouse. But apart from that, it's nice visually, and being able to see a live action Spirit Gun was just, but, these IPs do mean a lot, and it's not just these, but like you see with Minecraft and Five Nights at Freddy's, you see like, like Five Nights at Freddy's. I just did one the other day about Matthew Lillard talking about how, how important it is to so many people, and how, it's not about the person who's the actor, portraying these characters. It's about the community. It's about the fan base. You're making these things for them. When every Easter egg, every line, it's for the fans. But then if you go out there and alienate your fans, then it's really, who's the movie for then? So kudos to her. Huge respect for her to say this. Whether she means it or not, I don't care. It's just the fact that she did. It takes balls, especially nowadays when people could just double down. And people like Bebop, they worked very hard, worked very, very hard, but it's just a special thing. And I understand why the fans felt the way they did, but I also think that there's a lot of really cool, wonderful things that we did. I also wish that we could have gotten a second season. You know, something. Sometimes you just need one season to get things going, and then you prove yourself. Like the visuals for Cowboy Bebop were nice. You know, a lot of the space type stuff, you know, that looked really nice. The fight scenes were pretty well choreographed for the most part, like between Spike and Vicious. Just really any of the action. John Cho kind of being like a martial artist anyway, it seems. But, you know, a lot of the choreography was nice. So, I mean, there was things I liked. It's just they changed so many characters. Like, Vicious wasn't Vicious. It's just, you know. And then that terrible ending with Ed. Just, ugh. Trying to adapt Ed, that kind of character, into live action, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. But you know, like I said, I'm glad she had at least some kind of balls to say, you know, hey, you know, I understand these things are special to people. You know, it's not about us, it's about the people, the IP, and about the people, because it is special to a lot of people. She saw how Rachel Zegler imploded her career and realized that she's just as terrible. So some damage. I mean, the woman could have cosplayed at conventions for years, acting like Faye, and made all the money. It might be hard to keep Faye Valentine attitude up all day. Got to be better than pouring. Got to be better than pouring concrete. But again, as you can see, she's very gorgeous. It was just like not that great of an attitude or a personality, and that really took away from it. Not to mention, Faye was terribly written. She acted nothing like Faye. You know, Faye was a person who knew she was attractive, who used her body in order to get things. She wasn't ashamed of it. She that's what she did. But here, but again, kudos to her, respect to her. Again, even if she didn't mean it, just the fact that she said it, you know, whether, I mean, because it's so random to bring it up, you know, so I seriously doubt a manager or agent was like, hey, you should say something about Cowboy Bebop. No, I don't see that happening. I think after 3 years, she has genuinely realized that, you know, maybe she misspoke. Instead of saying trolls, she said fans, but even then, you know, she could see why people were so upset, because these things are very special to people. You know, some people, they're like, ye big when they start watching certain things, and then they watch them over the years and grow up, and then they're able to share that with their kids. And you know, like I said, high school, I'm watching Cowboy Bebop and FLCL and Yu Yu Hakusho, and then I fall asleep, and every time I wake up, freaking Inuyasha's, you know, ending, you know, it's playing, but that's what we want, whether it be genuine or not. We just want these people to realize that IPs like Cowboy Bebop, or, you know, Minecraft, or Five Nights at Freddy's, they're special to people. They mean a lot to people. And when you are acting in these series, it's not about the actors. You are making it for the fans. And if you go after the fans and you kind of push them away, who's the show really for now? Or who's the movie for? You know, imagine if they did that with FNAF or the Mario Brothers movie. Mario Brothers wouldn't have made $1 billion, because you're pushing the fans away, and then no one's going to go see it. But then you have something like Five Nights at Freddy's, and Matthew Lillard's like, it's for the fans. Every Easter egg, everything, and just the theater that I went to, with all the YouTubers that were there, the whole that's just a theory from Matt Pat, seeing people like Razbowski and Dawko on the Employee of the Month, all the little Easter eggs like Balloon Boy, and the final part with Afton saying I always come back. I mean, that is for the fans. That is for the people who've played the game, it's for them. So, if she's truly realized that these aren't for them, it's for the fans, then that's great. And I wish her all the best. And I hope that next time she gets involved with something that's an IP as big as Cowboy Bebop and is loved as Cowboy Bebop, she'll be a little wiser with her words and understand that when she gets criticism, it's not directed at her, because we know she's not the one making the outfit. She's not sitting there like, oh, I'm having to put my own outfit. No. Hopefully she understands that it's just that these characters mean so much to people, and that we just want to see them represented properly. No changes to personality, just represent them, take them from animation to live action. That's all you got to do. And sometimes when it's grounded more in reality, like Cowboy Bebop, it's easier to do. So hopefully she'll be a little more wiser for the wear. But hey, that's just a theory. A film theory. And cut. Anyway. That's going to do it for me. You guys know the drill. I'll see you guys later. Bye, guys.